If you desire to walk in alignment with your purpose, to live a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment, you've come to the right place. This is Sarah Locke, and welcome to Purpose Unlocked. Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. Today, we are going to talk about setting goals, and how to achieve them is going to be in part 2. So make sure that you look out for part 2 of this episode. But today we are going to be talking about how do we set goals. Now, one thing that I know that I've said over and over again is that we underestimate what we can do in the long term, but we often overestimate what we can do in the short term. And what that means is normally when people make their goals for the new year and they make their New Year's resolutions, they think that they're going to achieve 5 big things this year. And the truth of the matter is, you should really focus on achieving 2 big goals within a year at the maximum. And so we're going to talk about how to break that down and how to do that. But then also, if you do want to achieve those 5 big things, you can absolutely achieve them over a longer time frame. It's just you don't want to bite off more than you can chew in one year because you're going to get overwhelmed. And most people quit all of their New Year's resolutions by February. So we don't want to be those people. We want to talk about how to create sustainable goals that we can actually go after and achieve.
Why do so many New Year's resolutions fail by February?
Well, I think, like I said, too many people try to bite off way more than they can chew. So instead of setting an achievable goal of, I'm going to make sure that I get to the gym X number of times every week. They say, I'm going to get super healthy. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to go to the gym every day. And then by week 2, they start missing a day, and then they'll miss 2 days, and then they fall off the bandwagon because they're like, oh, I broke it. I knew I couldn't do this. Like, I never get my life together. And then it's like once they don't go to the gym, then you start eating unhealthy again. And it's just this spiral. And we get really hard on ourselves when we set these giant goals and we fail to meet them. The other thing is, life is going to get in the way. If you're one of those people that doesn't go to the gym regularly and you say, I want to start going to the gym every day, well, you have to build that into your schedule. You have to say, okay, what time are you going to go? Make sure that you get your gym clothes out. And I'm using gym as the example because that is just one of the things that everyone wants to get healthier in the new year. I really don't know anybody who's like, you know what? I'm just going to stay where I am right now. Even the healthiest people that I know don't, fall off in the new year. Like, you know what? I think I'm going to kick it back this year. I'm not going to care about my health. So I think health is just one of those things that we all really try to focus on in the new year. And it's also one of those things that takes time. So you do have to plan around it. You do have to pack your gym bag or set your shoes out the night before and do all of those things. And a lot of the time, it means that you're going to have to make sacrifices in other areas of your life. Like if you want to go to the gym in the morning, you're going to have to sacrifice that 60 minutes of sleep. You're not going to be able to sleep in. Like you got to get up when your alarm goes off. If you're going to work out after work, you might have to do a lot of meal planning on the weekends because normally you spend that time cooking dinner. Well, now you have to meal plan on the weekends, so you can just throw it all in the crock pot in the morning or, you know, make it work for your schedule. But yes, going to the gym, being healthy, being health conscious, it does take time and it takes dedication. So that's one of those things that you have to plan your schedule around it. And you are going to have to realize obstacles are going to come up. Okay. So things happening, things getting in your way, that is not a bug of life. It's not something weird that only happens to you. It's something that happens to everyone. It's just a feature of being alive, of being human. So, yes, there are going to be nights where you didn't get an adequate amount of sleep and your alarm goes off and you're like, no, I'm just going to sleep in. Okay, well, then you're not meeting the goal that you set for this year. And that might sound harsh, but the truth of the matter is, you're either the type of person that goes to the gym all the time, you're either the type of person that cares about your health, that dedicates that time, or you're not. And if you want to be that type of person, you have to realize that on the days that I don't get enough sleep, I still go to the gym. on the days where I really don't feel like it. Sometimes I just go and I do like a few workouts and then I'm like, you know what? I don't really feel like it. But I didn't do nothing. I still got up, I still got my workout clothes on, I still got there. And don't make your goal couch to 5K in a week. So if you want to start going to the gym regularly, don't say, okay, I'm going to go for an hour a day. Tell yourself, I'm going to go for 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to start by just, doing a 5 to 10 minute walk, jog on the treadmill, lift a few weights, call it a day. And that might be enough for you for that first week and build it up from there. So then you're working up toward 30 minutes. Then you're doing 30 minutes of heavy cardio and weight training. Then you're pushing it to 45, then an hour. Because the other thing is like you really do have to work up the stamina to work out for that long. Like if I haven't worked out in a few weeks, I can only get through like 30 to 45 minutes of like hard exercise from like, you know what, I'm beat. Like I'm done now. I call it running out of juice. I run out of juice. So you have to also like get yourself to a point where you can work out for whatever your goal is, whether it's 45 minutes to an hour or more than that.
What makes a goal realistic without playing it too safe?
Realistic without being too safe. I think something that's too safe is probably something that you're either already doing or doesn't really push you out of your comfort zone. If I said my goal for 2026 is to go to the gym every day or as many days as I can, obviously I have my son, so if he gets sick or something pops up or there's a doctor's appointment, like we can't go. But I really do try to get there every day. If I'm trying to think of like if I were to play it too safe. Yeah, it would just be setting my goals of lower than what I know that I can achieve. Maybe that's the better definition of it is I know as a person I want to achieve this or I think I can achieve this, but I'm afraid of failure, so I'm only going to aim for here. Whereas if I know that I can, let's say, do strength training 3 days a week and cardio 2 days a week, as a hypothetical, but let's say that's my goal. I really want to try to push myself to get there. And I know that that's a lot of work. I know that that is a lot of work for me. It's a lot of work for my body, but I'm still going to try to push it. Um, and that's a realistic goal. Is it a realistic goal every single week? No, because like I said, things are going to come up, which that actually leads me to a slightly different point. If you miss a day, let's say your goal is I'm going to get to the gym every single day of the week except for, let's say, Sundays, because that's kind of what I try to do. Um, if you miss a day, that's fine because you're human, but don't miss 2 days in a row, which means if you miss today, you're like, ah, I caved in, I hit that snooze, I'm not gonna make it today. That means come hell or high water, your butt better get to the gym tomorrow because you can't skip 2 days in a row. So that's actually something that I read in Atomic Habits, and I love that rule. And it's if you're trying to make a new positive habit, skipping a day is fine because you're human. But skipping 2 days is you forming a new habit or you reverting to a bad habit. So I really like that rule just, for our lives. Skipping a day is fine. Skipping 2 days in a row, not fine.
How do you break a big goal into daily or weekly actions?
Well, I like to break my big goals into quarters or sometimes even years. I have to break them down into. I have really big goals for my business, for example. So I break it down into, all right, what do I really want to achieve this year? And what do I think I really want to achieve next year? And then I focus on, okay, the thing that I want to achieve this year, then I have to break it down into quarters. So that is one of my favorite ways to break down a goal is start with a quarter. So you break your goal down into 4 parts and you say, okay, in this first quarter of the year, this first 3 months, what do I think that I can achieve? What would have to go over into next quarter? And then you look at, okay, in in these 3 months, what do I need to achieve this month to set me up for success the next month, and so forth. And then I'm like, okay, if I want to achieve, so I will use a real example for this year. One of my biggest goals is, I wrote it down. I want to publish a workbook that aligns with the course that I created. So I created emotional intelligence courses. I've taught them in the past. And one of the courses I created is called Heal and Align. So it's how to heal from the things that are holding you back. That is predominantly limiting beliefs, insecurities, and things like that. So we do very specific tools and exercises to heal from those things and then align to our values and our goals and what we want for our life and just like the big vision and dream and crush those limiting beliefs and really go after the things that we want. So I created that course, but it can be it can be really hard for people to show up at a course every week. And I really wanted something that was going to be more affordable, more hands-on, something that they could do physically in their spare time, whether it's digital or a physical copy. So my dream is to have this workbook published by the end of Q1. So what does that look like? Well, I have to figure out, how do you publish a book? So I'm asking ChatGPT. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm like, how do I publish a book? The easiest way to self-publish is on Amazon, right? So I've just been looking up, how do I do all of those things? Now, I have some of the audio recordings of me teaching the weekly classes, not all of them. So I have some of the audio from me teaching the weekly classes. And I also have visual aids in the form of a slide deck. I have some other materials that I've created. So I'm going to use all of that to create this workbook. And I have to figure out how to put all of those things together. So I'm learning that. And so I feel like there's this gap in my knowledge. I know what I need to learn to get to the next step. So now I need to learn how to do that thing, get all of that audio and everything that I have to say into physical writing, clean it up, add some of the graphics and the visuals, add spaces for people to do the exercises, and then make sure that it's formatted correctly and then publish. So that's what I've learned thus far. Am I missing steps? Perhaps, but I am going to learn that along the way. So, what do I have to do the first month? The first month, my goal is going to be trying to get the audio into written form. And I don't think that I have every single week recorded verbally. So I'm going to have to probably go back and record some of those. I probably have to re-record all of it because I know that there were certain ones where my son was awake and he was being crazy. There was one time where I was recording and literally like wearing him on my back. So I know that I have to re-record some of those, but that's going to be what's on my plate for the first month. And if that's too much to get done in the first month, that's okay. It can carry over into the second month. That second month is going to be a lot of editing and making sure everything's formatted properly, getting the cover to look the way I want, figuring out what that even means. And then the third month is going to be, okay, now what actions do I need to take to actually publish and advertise and do all of that so it is successful and it gets into the right hands and that it can really help people. So that is my big goal for 2023. And I really want to get it done in the first quarter because there's just other things that are going to be happening this year that I will share at a later date. But yeah, I just need to get it done in the first quarter because there's just other things that are going to be coming down the pike.
What is one question people should ask themselves before committing to a goal or when they are thinking about what goals to set for themselves?
You have to ask yourself, is this really what I want? And am I willing to do what it takes to achieve it? Because so many people say that they want to be in good shape. Are you willing to do what it takes to achieve that? And you have to be really honest with yourself. People say that they want to be Mr. Beast. They want to be some YouTube star. Have you studied Mr. Beast enough to know how much work and effort he puts into doing what he does? Would you really want to be him? Are you willing to sacrifice all of your free time, all of those things to go after one specific goal? So I think that that's something that not enough people are really honest about. So many people set really big goals and they say, I want to be the best at this, or I want to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, I believe that you can, but are you willing to do what it takes to get there? And I don't think most people are.
How important is it to writing goals down versus keeping them in your head?
Ugh, you like struck a chord because you know how I feel about writing things down. I think it is insanely important to get them down in a physical sense. So for me, I love journaling. I love writing things out. I generally, so this is what if you can't see my screen, it is just a notebook with my absolutely beautiful handwriting. That is sarcasm. But it is me breaking down my 2026 goals into Q1, Q2, Q3, and 4. And then I hope that it wasn't clear enough for everybody to see what my goal actually was for Q3 and 4, because it's still a secret. But then I break down year 2027, 2028, and so forth. So I have other goals on here, like where I want to travel. Actually, one of the things that I have on my list is that I want to make sure that we go to my aunt's house for Easter, just because it's like it's a 4 hour drive. So it's something that we have to coordinate and figure out and, have the baby in the car. So just things like that. Like it can be anything from something really huge and crazy that I feel like I've never done before. And it's like this big, cool, scary goal that I'm super excited about, which is publishing my workbook, to going to my aunt's house for Easter. Also, you want to know the other thing that is on my goal for Q1 is to win the HGTV Dream Home. And you might hear that. You listening might hear that and be like, that is the stupidest, most ridiculous thing. Why would you even make that a goal? Because it's my goal. They're mine. These goals are mine. I can write down anything I want. I can write down on here that this year I want to grow to 5'10". And that won't happen. That's less realistic than winning the HGTV Dream Home. But if I wanted to write it down, I could. So dream whatever you want to dream. Again, try to be realistic. I'm never going to be 5'10", but that's okay. Um, but I could. It is, if it doesn't defy the laws of physics, you can do it. So is someone going to win the HGTV Dream Home? Yeah. I don't think they're lying to us. So why not me? So I wrote it down and I'm applying. So
Very good, very good.
yeah, so
So,
your
what
dreams can
are
be as big and crazy or as little and simple as you want. Actually, I actually think it's a very good thing to have both because it's good to have things on your list that are completely achievable, that you're like, yes, I'm definitely going to do this. So yeah, have big crazy things, have little tiny things, everything in between.
what are some of your goals for this year? I mean, we talked about your business goal, we talked about the HGTV dream home, but are there any other ones that you are and publishing your workbook? As if that's not enough, are there any other ones that you are willing to share with us?
Okay, well, like I said, it's important to not have too many like big goals. You want to have like two big ones. Yeah, one or two big ones, depending upon how long you think it's going to take you. Like the workbook, for example, I'm really aiming for it to take me 1 quarter. It could bleed into 2 quarters. We don't know because I've never done it before. We're figuring it out. Um, so that's my one big goal. I also have another course that I'm working on, which is a course geared toward couples. So I really want to help couples improve their communication, understanding themselves and their partners better, and how to keep the like fiery sexiness alive in your marriage as well as that that love and friendship. Like how do you grow both? So it's like Esther Perel calls it like the double flame, which I don't, she didn't come up with that, I don't think. But there's the flame of love and there's the flame of desire. And a lot of the time, those two don't go hand in hand very well for different reasons. But we want to ignite and fuel both of those flames. So I'm going to be focusing on creating that course using some of the emotional intelligence tools that I've taught in the past, and then also applying that and different things that I've learned and things that I'm continuing to study as it relates to couples and love and marriage and um, how to keep that alive. So this is something that I'm really passionate about. I've just realized that so many people are struggling in their marriages, so many people are getting divorced. And as someone who's been through divorce, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So if there's anything I could possibly do in my power to help someone else from going through that, I absolutely will. So that is why that's a huge passion of mine, and I'm really excited to bring that into the world and help in any way I can. So I am currently working on that course. It is it is in progress. So my other goal is to complete that course. I have that under Q1. Am I going to complete that in Q1 on top of the workbook? Probably not. If I'm being honest, that might be a little too much. So that might be me biting off more than I can chew. Um, that might bleed over into Q2, and that would be okay. And then the other thing that I think would be fun slash challenging slash maybe a goal for both of us to work on is that I want to learn one new content type per month. So again, once I have this workbook and these courses and I have to advertise them, I want to grow my following and I want to educate people while entertaining them and passing on this knowledge. I want to be able to create good content that's not just me talking at the screen. So the one I want to work on is called like green screen where I'm talking, but there's like something behind me that's not this door. Yeah. So the idea that I have for that is some of the healthy things that I make as a busy mom. Like take a picture of the food and have it behind me. And then I can talk about the recipe or something. I don't know. That's just an idea that I have. So something like that. So I want to learn the green screen effect and then like a stitch slash reaction video. I've never done one of those. And that doesn't seem too hard. And talking to myself. So that's like the clone effect where I don't know if I can do it with like both of me standing next to each other or if I have to like record me saying one thing and then like record me saying something else. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but those are the things that I would like to learn. So those are my goals.
All right. I like them. I like them. We will do our best to make them happen.
Well, those are my goals for 2026, at least for the first half of the year, how I'm planning on achieving them. And I would love to hear feedback from you. What are your goals for 2026? What big goals do you have? What little goals do you have? And how do you plan on breaking them up and achieving them? What are you going to do to make your daily habits change in order to hit those goals? So I would love to hear some of those things or some of the things that you've done in the past that have worked for you. So, what habits have you changed that have led to a big change in your life and hitting those goals? So, we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, let us know in the comments what you are going to achieve this year. Thanks. Thank you for the precious gift of your time. If you found this helpful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with someone you love. Until next time, count your blessings, love yourself, and stay fabulous.